so much better about the Goop Lagoon right now. I don't know if y'all feel the same way. I feel so much better about the Goop Lagoon right now. Oh my God.
There are people there. That's
nothing about the Goop Lagoon no more.
That's crazy.
All these rides with the Cannonball Loop, a fully enclosed water slide with a unique, completely vertical loop at the end. You tend not to see these at water parks for the perhaps unsurprising reason that shooting people out of a vertical loop is not necessarily conducive to their survival. The ride itself was built kind of by the eyeball, using some nearby car factory workers who had recently been made redundant as labour. When the first test dummies went down, it was reported that one...
So they just picked up some random dudes that worked in a car factory, said, hey, y'all got some extra parts in here? Come slap them together for us real quick at the water park. We'll give you $50. Unbelievable. What about putting in water balloon launchers so you can hit the creeps and graffiti people and such? That would be a good idea, Mom. No joke. Yeah, like a water balloon launcher gun. That would actually go hard. No joke. That's a good idea right there. That's a great idea.
Its head. To convince real humans to go down, the park offered employees $100, and eventually Eugene's son Andy was the first person to do so, but in full hockey protective gear. This ride suffered from an inevitable problem of physics. If a human body was either too light or too heavy, they often wouldn't have the right momentum to safely clear the loop and would get stuck at the top, crashing down on either side. Nosebleeds and facial and back injuries were extremely common, so much so that the ride was only open for a single month before the state's advisory board forced it shut, considering it too dangerous. Some early riders were even coming back with lacerations to their bodies, and when the ride was closed to determine what caused this, teeth that had been knocked out of previous riders' mouths were now lodged in the foam-lined interior walls, slicing up the next riders as they...
Oh my goodness! People's teeth were getting knocked out from the slide and wedged in the wall, that the next person that came through would get cut by the person's tooth. You know how many diseases was going around? Did they make a movie off of this? This is unbelievable.
But the Cannonball Loop was by far from the only crazy installation. The Tarzan swing was a steel arch suspended from a cable over a spring-fed natural pool. Patrons waited in long lines for the chance to swing out and jump off into the water below. Because this spring was fed by mountain water, the temperature rarely exceeded 50 degrees, a fact that most only came to appreciate as their bodies immediately went into hypothermic shock upon entering the water. They would need immediate rescue after being unable to pull themselves back out. Another danger...
I am gonna patch up, give you some medical attention.
You risked crashing into the concrete platform at the far
Giving
side
you
of the
some
pool, something that broke
bandages
many
and
ankles
put it
toes, but
around
that's just
the
a
wounds.
really. In fact, unsuspected danger was
There
a
you go.
prevalent theme of Waterworld.
Yo, I'm too easy with another 25 gifted again. Yo, W, I'm too easy with another 25 gifted again. Appreciate you, I'm too easy for real. Thank you, W, I'm too easy. Thank you, seriously, I appreciate that.
Pursuit patrons would skim across a shallow pool of water.
Look at the sharp edges of this. What is this?
Deeper than a puddle in places, using a plastic sled in the same manner as skipping a stone over a lake. However, if you lean too far forward or back, the edge of the sled would bite into the water, catapulting the rider's head directly forward into the shallow puddle, resulting in serious injuries. Even if you avoided this, often the attendant would have already let the next rider down, slamming straight into the back of you. The collection of raft-based artificial whitewater rides were also notoriously dangerous.
Lord have mercy.
Were built to look like a natural river, complete with jagged rocks.
Drip with the TNW, Drip. Thank you, Drip.
Collarbones and dislocated knees and shoulders.
Appreciate you, Drip, with the TN. Thank you, Drip.
Toilet bowl which flushed riders down into a dark tunnel. A tunnel lined with foam padding that would often tear away from the walls, narrowing the hole and causing human riders to clog the toilet. Attendants would then have to quickly turn off the water supply to stop those congested patrons from drowning. Surf Hill was another infamous attraction. Patrons would slide down a wet sloped surface on foam mats at high speed, landing in a very shallow puddle. The barriers between lanes were minimal and people frequently collided with each other on the way down.
Yo, if you didn't get injured or worse at a place like this, can you imagine the amount of fun it would be though? Like, if you're one of the people that got to go do all this crazy stuff and not get injured, could you imagine how fun it would be? Oh, there is a movie about it back in 2018 called Action Point. Okay, Ben, appreciate you, egghead. Yo, Guaman with the 5, thank you.
The seventh
I am gonna fetch up, give you some medical attention. Everything will be okay, but you don't bench around your wounds.
It also had a reputation for causing serious injury, but both employees and spectators much loved this ride for one very particular.
No worries, sir.
You see, Surf Hill
Okay,
was
give me a ride,
essentially
please,
built to separate
I'm no
women
problem.
from their
Yeah, sure. I can bring you to where you want to be, you know?
Yes.
Realized that they had emerged significantly less covered than they began the ride. A nearby snack bar was installed specifically to take advantage of this.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. This is absolutely horrible. This might be the worst. This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
However, a single ride stood out from all the others. A ride so deadly it quickly became known by employees as the Grave Pool. The tidal wave pool opened.
The employees are naming these places the Grave Pool, the Backbreaker. Death awaits.
The start of Action Park's 1981 season. The pool was 100 feet wide and 250 feet long and could hold 500 to 1,000 people at once. This was a serious large. The waves were generated by underwater machines for 20 minutes at a time with 10-minute breaks and could reach a whopping 1 meter high.
Alright, at least you are gonna be safe here at the beach market. There you go.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
No worries, sir.
Oh my goodness.
At least you're safe.
With nowhere to stand up. Because of the unrestricted entry, the water would often be covered in a dense packed layer of floating rings, which would keep people trapped underwater if they got swept down. The dangerous conditions would often cause people to crowd at the relatively few ladders to escape. 12 lifeguards were on duty permanently, and on high traffic weekends, as many as 30.
Y'all over here this happy, you ain't doing nothing. Y'all ain't saving nobody in that pool.
Rescued from drowning. For comparison,
Yeah.
zero or a single rescue.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Arrived to make recommendations to improve safety. He was so overwhelmed by the severity of the condition.
Can you hear me?
He simply disappeared and never returned.
Oh my goodness.
Out of the hundreds
Can you hear me now?
drownings on 3 separate occasions, the wave pool would prove to be fatal. In July of 1982, a 15-year-old boy named George Lopez would drown. 2 years later, 20-year-old Donald DePass, and finally in July 1987, 18-year-old Gregory Cranshaws. These were not the only deaths in Action Park. The first reported death was in 1980 when 19-year-old George Larson Jr. was riding the Alpine slide after hours. His car jumped the tracks, and when ejected, George's head struck a rock. He died from his injuries 8 days later in hospital. Then on the first report of 1982, only 2 days after the drowning of George Lopez, 27-year-old Jeffrey Newman was riding in an attraction reaction covered yet called Kayak Experience, which, despite sounding and being relatively tame compared to some of the other attractions, featured a dense blur water. The Kayak Experience was a partnership by the kayak run, powered by underwater fans that agitated the water to provide the current. Frequently, kayaks would tip over or get lodged among the rocky rocks, meaning patrons would have to step out of the kayak in order to ride it again. When Jeffrey stepped out, his foot touched a rail covering one of those electrified fans. A 19-ampere current passed into his body and caused him to go into cardiac arrest. He later died in nearby hospital. Then finally, sometime during 1984, the man died after suffering cardiac arrest, allegedly caused by the shock of cold water in the pool beneath Tarzan's swim. The water that day was believed to be around.
No, EMS. No. No, EMS. This is crime scene.
Oh, we know why.
And how it managed to continue running for so long. Firstly, many of the staff attendants weren't teenagers and probably if at all trained. Many were under the influence of alcohol while working, and training was never taken seriously. 21. They cared little for enforcing the rules, and considering the attitude of at least quite a few of them.
Can we talk about how many people in this place, by the way?
That's not entirely surprising. Sometimes physical alterations
R1 Bob, check your left eye.
All active units, please check your left man.
Teenagers didn't feel the power to discipline built against its administrative enforcement rules. This was definitely exacerbated by
They got a skyline! This place had everything! $50 isn't that cold? It's 50 degrees out right now. I fear you know absolutely nothing about temperature.
Ontdek de serie Purpose Edition op het hele gamma Renault bedrijfsvoertuigen.
To help young people with housing issues, the EU should support more student housing projects in all the major cities and support affordable housing for
beer was
You go jump into a 50-degree pool and tell me if it's warm.
and the drinking in pools were enforced particularly
Because I promise you, it's gonna be cold.
The short distance between many of these kiosks and the rides involving operating motor vehicles with no safety equipment in bathing suit really set the hood up for a rough time. It's fair to say that because Action Park was closer and slightly cheaper than the neighbouring Six Flags Great Adventure,
Oh, that's
many
why.
patrons were from lower communities who had less opportunity to learn.
That's why so many people came to cheap.
The fact that the park was advertised heavily to the Spanish and Polish communities nearby, even though that there were no translated instructions, did set the park up for some trouble. There was a fundamental clash between how people viewed Action Park and what it
All
intended itself
activations,
to be.
please check your left
Eugene's
hand.
philosophy was that Action Park existed in a similar way a beach does. If someone swims out at a beach and drowns, it's a tragic accident, but there is more of a perceived onus on the swimmer for going out and making bad decisions.
That's what I say at Goob Lagoon a lot. That's what I say at Goob Lagoon a lot.
Dying on a roller coaster, however, does feel somewhat different. The kind of spark that was going to spin and fall over the stage by the roller coaster. It's been suggested that many patrons took that roller coaster analogy to Action Park. Without actually being able
Nah,
to
don't make it 10-minute timeout. Bam, like permanent. Y'all cooking with the 10-minute action? No, it's gotta be a permanent.
And again,
I've had
SH, check your left eye. SH, check your left eye. Respond to 1020.
safety record, there are actually multiple interesting contributing factors. Because many of the rides were pioneering at the time, often built out of wild imagination,
SH,
as
wake
opposed
up.
to stringent
SH.
engineering and testing. It was difficult for the regulatory.
By the way, real quick, y'all feel better about the
Thank
Goob
you.
Lagoon now? The fact that so many people are still saying no is unreal. Goob Lagoon's safety isn't even comparable to this. In case you're being dramatic, yo, idiot named Lee, I'll perma you too. What you talking about?
control Action Park's rides, especially in the early days. If a person survived a test run, nothing visually was formed.
What calling you an idiot, by the way? The actual username is idiot named Leo.
Say that a special relationship existed between Action Park and the state, as the park was only ever fined once in its operating history. In fact, it's a humorous anecdote when the local government complained about the high demand for ambulances generated by Action Park. Gene simply bought the local hospital a new fleet of vehicles. Accident and injury.
Oh!
Fuck your mom, nigga. Fuck your mom.
And in cases where a claimant sought injury, the park's legal attack would viciously fight tooth and nail.
It's like I'm almost completely reading this. This is
The fact it became difficult for victims to hire legal representation from the local lawyers purely because they all knew just how hard Action Park would fight every single claim.
I can't believe
this is
this.
quite unusual for a business, but this is where we get to the downfall of Action Park. Action Park wasn't forced closed, it actually went bankrupt. GAR simply couldn't contend with paying for everyone who got injured there. As one litigant alleged in the early 1990s, there were over 2,400 active or past litigants who were seeking compensation against GAR. It turned out that the reason Action Park fought so hard to avoid paying was simply because they had no insurance.
What?
Expensive to insure for rides that have a tendency to maim and kill, so Gene came up with a pretty ingenious solution. He just set up his own fake insurance company called London EN1.
EMS, can you please give me a patch?
No!
EMS, can you please patch me?
Yeah, surely.
Thank you.
Sorry about the guy, man. He's been silenced. He's getting
Yeah,
access
look,
now.
whoever shot me,
It was this one here.
yeah, okay.
Not surprisingly, the government were not happy to find this out, but Gene did make the argument. He paid out of his own pocket whenever someone got injured, and by February 1996, the constant legal attacks culminated with the credit
17.
A year later, in 1997, they announced
Yo, Bob with the fine, thank you.
operations. What followed was, in short, a changing of hands between multiple owners, modifications, closures, to produce a much tamer version of traditional action.
Hey, what up, bud?
Many of the rides in most
Yeah.
were either
Man,
completely buried
hop out of the car real quick. I gotta give you something for clapping all of them.
2 decades, was no more.
Come on, man. Here you go. Just for clapping them all.
It was loved by a great many people. In fact, the park often made the argument that although a
Thank
lot of
you.
people were injured,
No problem. Keep up that good work, man.
millions and
Yeah.
millions of customers every day.
That guy should not even shooting me because it's not that I can defend myself with a gun, you know.
No, you're good, bro. You fucked them up. Good shit.
Yeah.
You're doing both the work.
Okay. I try.
Have a good day, bud.
Okay. What the fuck are you doing?
Gene's fundamental ethos was to put people in control of their action, and this unique experiment created great memories for a lot of people. The bumps and injuries were often considered a source of pride and proof that you had survived Action Park. But thanks to war, children these days pretty much will never get the chance to experience the sheer joy of entering cardiac arrest halfway down an artificial water chute composed entirely of rebar concrete and exposed wiring. And I think that's a great shame. Action Park is a unique relic of a long-gone, pre-health and safety era of history that could never realistically be replicated today. If you enjoyed this video and want to...
Wait, what did you say? Wait, repeat that again?
Park is a unique relic of a long-gone, pre-health and safety era of history that could never realistically be replicated today.
Who gonna tell them? Somebody just said it came back.
Say okay, 6.5.
Who gonna yo? When I look at that overhead map of this place, bro, the Goob Lagoon is...
That guy's gonna be cooked because I'm.
Look at this. How do you got this much money?
Hold on a sec. I know exactly when it happened.
Dude, the size of it, you know what we got the Goob Lagoon? This us right here. This all we got. It reopened.